Good evening. Welcome to the Monday, August 15th City Council meeting. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santi,
Here.
Alderman Glad,
Here.
Alderman McClatchy,
Here.
Alderman Harding,
Here.
Alderman Stratt,
Here.
Alderman Devine, and Alderman Miller are absent.
Thank you. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first item on the agenda is public comment. This is the opportunity for anyone in the public that would like to come up to the podium. Please state your name and address for public record. We cannot respond to any of the items that you're to speak of tonight, but if it's an item that we can get back to you on, we can certainly do that in a quickly manner. So, Nancy?
My name is Nancy Capone. I live at 3304 West Fairway Drive, McHenry. And we are asking the city council to extend the golf cart ordinance, to use Green Street north to Washington Street, right to Riverside Drive, south to Miller Park. This would give and allow us to use the perimeter of the city events like in Veterans Park and Miller Park. Hope you will consider this request. We have quite a few people from the County Country Club who would like to do this. We have licensed carts and all the stuff with it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Denise?
Hi, Denise Sebastiano. I live at 3108 Judy Lane in McHenry, and I'm here to support Nancy as well. We are part of the golf cart community as well. My main objective is about the proposal for this golf cart being expanded for the community, and we'd like to maybe find a viable solution to help with the downtown business community and support a crossing area over Route 120 or under to Miller Park and Veterans Park. One of the things that we've been my husband and I have traveled, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen golf cart communities, and I'm just refreshing your memory that a lot of times golf carts are easy to drive, they're quieter, less gas, which is very good right now, very social. When people are in golf carts, there's a lot more friendly environment. And since you guys have done a great job on improving and making the downtown a lot more interesting for people to come and spend their money and be down there, to expand this kind of service for people in the community that have golf carts, it would be appreciated if you could take a look at that and see if you can come up with something. That's it. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Appreciate it. Anyone else that would like to make a public comment? Oh.
You're late.
Nancy already went up there. Nancy already did it.
I just support what they're saying. No, I'm just sorry. We've been I was talking to
He's
Nancy,
shy.
so-
He's shy. I know it. He's shy, you know?
All right, yeah, I support what she said. Just trying to get around and be able to get a little more access would be great.
Sure. Anyone else?
Mayor Jett, would you like to come on this side and fight for this?
Oh, not right now. Not right now. I appreciate y'all coming out and supporting the extension here. If you don't mind, Nancy and Denise, before you leave, you can leave your phone numbers with our clerk here, and she can go ahead and get it to the chief of police, and he'll reach out to you and have a conversation. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on to consent agenda items 5A through 5H. Is there any council members wanting to pull separate items for
Consideration.
Yeah, full items for separate consideration? Alderman Glenn?
Yeah, I'd like to pull D for separate vote.
Okay.
All set.
Okay. Thank you. Any others? Yes. I am looking for a motion to approve 5A through 5C and 5E through 5H. Alderman McClatchy?
Yeah, I'll move that we approve the rest of the consent agenda.
Consent.
Second.
Discussion on these items? See none, clerk, please call the roll.
And that was 5A through 5C?
Yes.
5A through 5C, and 5E through 5H.
Okay. Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Harding?
Yes.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman Santi?
Yes.
Next item on the item that was pulled on the agenda is 5D, is a block party request, August 20th, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Kalila Drive, August 20th, 12 to 10 p.m. Jennifer Lane, September 17th, 12 to 5 p.m. Dale Street. Alderman Glenn, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve that. I just wanted to vote on it separately.
Okay, thank you. Second? Alderman McClatchy?
Second.
All right, discussion on this item? Alderman Santi?
I think Alderman Clapper fully, I will abstain because one of the block parties is, I'm sponsoring.
Make sure I get an invite.
Yeah, we'll be.
Free, right? You don't live on the block? The block?
You have to bring a scientist to pass, Attorney Carl, if you can handle that.
Any other,
No brownies.
Yeah, no brownies.
You guys have them with golf cart or? No? You're not gonna be too stiff? Okay.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Santi?
Abstain.
Alderman Harding?
Yes.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Thank you. Individual action item 6A is Munson Marine Variations and Conditional Use Permit. The motion is to approve an ordinance granting variations and conditional use permit for the operation and expansion of the existing marina with outdoor storage, motor recreational vehicle, fuel and oil sales, marine vehicle service and repair, slip rentals, and open sales lot at 3112 West Lincoln Road. Director Pawlicki.
Thank you, Mayor. As most of you are aware, the Munsons had purchased the Watertown Marina just over a year ago, I believe. And extensive work was performed on the marina. This is basically just cleaning up their conditional use. They were allowed to operate as a marina in the past, however, they did not have an open sales lot attached to that conditional use permit, so this will allow them to have boat sales on the property. And then, along with operating the marina, as the mayor mentioned. One variance that they're looking for is a fence variance, and that's just to continue the fence along Lincoln Road across the two new properties that they purchased. So, in addition to the open sales lot, they also purchased the 2 residential lots in front, and if you go by there today, they actually tore them down today. So, the fence variance will allow that fence to encroach on the front yard in the same sort of style that the other one is, all the way to the main storage building. So those are the 2 items up for a conditional use permit. If you have any questions, I am here, and then also Lisa Wagner, who represents Munson, is also here.
Thank you. At this time, we'll look for a motion and a second. Alderman Santi?
I will make the motion to approve consent, individual item 6A, Munson Marine Variance and Conditional Use Permit as presented.
Thank you. Second? Alderman Strack?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion on this item? See none. Open it up for the public. Is there any public comment regarding this item? All right. Lisa, would you like to say anything? We're good to go.
Mayor, just want to say the Munsons have been very appreciative of the cooperation with the city, in particular staff. There's been some starts with communication, but overall, they're very, very proud of the facility, proud of Ian McHenry, and hope they can be successful. So, but we appreciate everything that we've done to cooperate with them.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate it. All right. Alderman Strack?
Just one question for Russ. The variance on the parking lot on the north side, is that paved currently or gravel?
For the storage,
No, the parking on the north.
oh, that's paved.
It is
It's paved. That was all engineered, yes.
Okay.
That's paved.
I didn't know if that was paved area or if that was gravel.
No, that is paved.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santi?
Yes.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Alderman Harding?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Thank you, council. Item 6B, and I'm looking for a motion to approve an ordinance granting various text amendments to the City of McHenry zoning ordinance related to off-street parking and loading, car wash facilities, residential care facilities, accessory structures, and fence regulations. Director Palarecki?
Thank you, Mayor. So this is just basically cleaning up some items within our zoning ordinance, things that we've recognized over the course of the last couple of months. We seem to be bringing a lot of these to council. One of the big ones is the off-street parking, which is a number of required parking stalls for an establishment. We did research all the surrounding communities and found out that we were extremely high with our parking requirements. So this is just kind of bringing that into compliance with what the surrounding communities are. You guys can all relate to that because we seem to be bringing parking variances to council for every development that we have. So this will hopefully stop that from happening. And we haven't had any issues with any of the developments that have been approved with parking variances, maybe other than a Starbucks, but I don't even think they got approved for a variance. They just got a visitor drive-through that we have issues with. So, some of the other things were just cleaning up the fence regulations and accessory structures where when those structures are located in a through lot, which is where you have a front yard in both your front and your rear yard, this allows sheds and fences to be placed in what would be typically considered your rear yard. So those were always variances that we were bringing forward to the city council, so this is kind of cleaning that up to be less time consuming. There are a few others. If you have any questions after reading that packet, I'm here to answer. Thank you, Ross.
I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve 6B. Alderman Hardy?
Make that motion for 6B.
Thank you. Alderman Stratt for a second.
Second, please.
Thank you. Discussion by council? Alderman Clark?
Yeah, just a quick question. What are we reducing it to? I think it was in the back of it, just for the folks at home.
For the parking, it depends on the use. So, multifamily dwellings is 1.5. There's a whole slew of them in here. Apartment, hotels, bed and breakfast. I mean, all of them are kind of getting changed. Cannabis facilities. Yeah, if you can look at page 140, 138, 140, 141. The items in red are the ones that are. So is there something particular that you're looking for?
Well, are we zoning in on residential too?
We did reduce the residential, yes. One other big one that I want to mention, we can go back to that, is car washes. So we have an influx of interest in car washes. Car washes are an allowed use in a C5, which is commercial highway, where we're making car washes a conditional use in all zoning districts. That way we can, we don't have car washes going on every corner in our C5 district without any special rules. So sorry, back to the.
No, thank you, you answered.
All right. Any other? Alderman Santi?
Yeah, just to confirm on residential, on page 139, it reads as 2 for the single family, and then the 1.5, I believe, was that 1.2 or 1.6?
No, we're at like 2.1
for
multifamily dwelling.
Okay.
So it's being reduced.
Okay, yeah, okay, so we're at 2.1.
Yes,
okay.
we're right around 2.
All right, and then single family is now just a straight 2 for single family attached or detached dwelling, correct? Okay. Okay, thank you, no further questions.
All right. Is there anyone from the public that'd like to make a public comment regarding this item? See none? Back to council, Alderman Webb?
Yeah, I just want to mention the fact that I want to be real careful about the restaurant food parts, only because of the fact that I think that's the area right now that if anywhere that gets overcrowded, that would be it. The rest of it, I've got a problem with.
Thank you.
It'll be interesting to see where that goes, down the road.
I think it'll just be less variances brought before the city council, because I have not seen one development not approved because
I just think, once we have this in place, hopefully we will have fewer requests for variances.
Yes.
And then see how it works very well, and I'll readdress this in a year or two if we see that, there's impacts that we didn't expect. It's just like, you and I had a discussion about parking, today. You know, we approved for parking, but then, you take a look at some places and then all of a sudden, now you have, an extra parking spot for, nursing mothers, and then you have one for, you go up to Johnsburg Walmart, they have it for, police, which they park at the curb anyway, because in most cases they need to get in there right away. And, before you know it, you're 14 spaces back, for the first spot to, for a regular shopper to go into. And, these all take up, and then you think, what's a growing industry is online shopping. And with online shopping, a lot of companies are starting like Walmart, as far as having specific parking just for that. Jewel started it over there. That takes away from the general public parking, and just need to be careful of that as we're going down the road. I think, Ross, you should probably take a look at that, maybe start addressing some of it before it gets out of hand. Right now, everything's fine, but as things grow in those type of situations, it could wind up becoming.
Any other questions, comments by council? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Harding,
Yes.
Alderman Stratt,
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderman Glad,
Yes.
Alderman Santi,
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is 6D, motion to approve the mayor's execution of a lease between the city of McHenry and All Marine Service for the South Harbor Piers, property and buildings from November 1st, 2022 through October 31st, 2023. Director Hobson?
Thank you, Mayor. This is follow-up for discussion at our last council meeting. We talked about getting a jump on this after how it was presented to council earlier this winter, I would say. That seems like a blink ago, but I did reach out, again, I reached out to Munson Marine as well as Miller's Dream Marine to gauge interest, to see if they would be willing to submit a proposal. I had brief conversations with Munson Marine regarding that. They did not follow up after our giving all the details, and Miller's Dream Marine did not respond. With that information, I put before you a lease based on our previous year's leases on that property. Again, keeping it just to 1 year, as while there's interest on the property for redevelopment, there's not a serious proposal that's moving forward. I would say in the time frame that we have listed here before you, but we left parameters in there as when we redid the lease to make sure that we retain access to the property if we need to do things to continue that exploration.
There you go. I'm looking for a motion and a second for 6D as presented. Alderman Santi? What's going on over there?
Okay, I will make the motion, for authorization to move forward with All Marine Services. I would look to the rest of the council for some open discussion in regards to, I don't know how to suggest, but like a performance level on this agreement in regards to, we've had, a certain level of leasing this year because of, as a city, we were late to the party and allowing All Marine to work on this. But I'd like to try to give them some benefit on the back end in regards to a performance level, but then actually let's do a level on the lower end in regards to the percentage, so that we can have a negotiated percentage to get to a certain level, and then actually give them a performance bonus or extra level at a higher percentage, so we make sure that we're getting these slips filled, because it seems to be a very busy area, and it seems to be something that we could take advantage of. We missed out on last year due to some concerns with prior agreements, and I don't know exactly how to present that in regards to a motion, so I know I just made
that's a long motion.
Yeah.
No, which one?
Again, it's a long.
No, so we'll go for a motion, we'll just have a discussion on this item, and then we'll go ahead and ask for a motion. Is that easier?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I didn't know if you wrote all that down. Alright, so, let's go ahead and have a discussion as the council has concerns or questions, so, go ahead. Want to start?
So, a couple of things. I know that Bill used last year's lease to create the new one, and I think in Director Hobson's conversations with All Marine, they would like to do the indoor storage as well for the winter season. Again, that's probably what prompted a lot of this conversation. So I think we need to amend that as well, because I don't believe that it spells directly out that particular building, unless I'm missing that in the current lease. So I think we need to add that particular portion. The Quonset hut's listed, some other things are listed, so I'd love to see that detail in there. And I think, in agreement with Alderman Sandy's comment, I think we need to find a scale, if you will, that we can have the percentages of the split between ourselves and the operator of the facility to handle that facility. And so I'll throw my perspective out on that. I would love to see a 40% split to the purveyor and 60% to the city, up to 80% occupancy. From 80 to 90 would be at 50%, and if they fill 90% or above, we would bonus them at 5%, so they would receive 55%. We would use the dry storage facility by square foot, so we could look at the total footprint of the dry storage facility and base those percentages the same way on that square footage occupied after those leases are put through.
Okay. Alderman Sandy?
Just to follow up on Alderman Strack. Last year, and Michelle's here, so I'm happy that she was able to make it, and we, need to call her to the podium to speak if she's got some thoughts, but what I'd like to see is, I was looking more towards a number of around 70% being filled, and anything below that number would drop the rate to, around 40 or 45%, and anything above 80% would go to 50% of what the agreement is today, and then if they hit 90%, they can reach out to possibly 55 to 60%, having the city receive them 40 or 45%. I agree with putting in that all of the indoor storage, and then something that I was fortunate enough to have a in-depth discussion with Michelle and Dylan, the owners today, that I want to make sure that we have on this lease, and I think we've covered this for many years, is any kind of maintenance going on during the season, that the people leasing from us, the business, is reimbursed on those costs. I believe we've always had materials as a cost on our lease, is that correct?
I don't know if it's particularly in the lease, but it's been our operation. When they invest in the property, the things that are gonna stay there, we reimburse for the materials, not their time and labor. And then the only exception is the piers. We repair the piers every year. Comes to us as a completely separate bill outside of that. But there's been improvements made to the buildings out there, back when Jerry Danko had it.
And over the years, we've always been reimbursed.
We reimburse for materials.
Okay.
Electrical, those type of repairs, he does them on his own, and we reimburse.
Sure. And, it reads in here, that there is discussions, and Michelle and Dylan did confirm with me earlier today about still having discussions with the people at Freedom Boat Club. So there is open options for them coming in, possibly filling in some of those slots, for All Marine. And, I'll leave it at that and listen to other council members. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Alderman Glab.
One thing I want to bring up is we're talking about percentages of the rentals, that nobody's talking about the dollar amount. Who decides on the dollar amount and as far as what they charge for the rentals? handle on the market of what's going on and what to charge and everything else. But I think we should have at least some idea of where we're at, the minimum or maximum or something, rather than just saying, well, it's 50%. But what is it 50% of? And, I think down the road, we need to analyze it. You know, this property's been sitting out there for a long period of time now, as far as, we had, proposals, housing, five-story building and whatnot. And I've always looked at it, from day one, when they first started talking about, the Riverwalk and, all the development along the river, that this would be a good area for, the residents of the city to prosper with, rather than make it private. And I tend to wonder if we shouldn't look at, okay, if you had a new development, what would the city reap as far as property taxes versus what we reap for rentals on boats? And maybe we want to continue something like this, and maybe we want to take that Quonset hut and, paint it, do it up a little bit better, and, maybe we need to get a nice big, logo out there that says City of McHenry, Harbor Fox, you know, play up the fact that, yes, they are running it, but it is a facility of the City of McHenry. So it's food for thought, I think. I know it was a mouthful at first, but, you know, I really think that we need to look at that. Another question I had was on number 8, assignments and subletting, where it says, lessee shall not assign the lease or sublet, demise, or transfer any portion of the premises. But technically, every time they rent one of these slips, they have a lease, so they are subleasing every slip. I'm sure that wasn't the intent that we put in there, but maybe we need to clean up that language just a little bit more to be specific. Bill, do you know why, or Carl, as far as why we have that specific language in there as far as the sublet?
Well, if the marina business is leasing of boats or leasing of slips, what we try to stay away from is, let's just say, the previous tenant, they get the lease, and then they leased out the clubhouse building, or they leased out to whoever that wants to run whatever business they want. It's maybe it could be even a home goods, and then they take the shop, and then they rent out that shop to a mechanic, just a car mechanic, because they can work at that. And then what you wind up is that revenue's coming to them, and we never see any of that revenue as a sublease of those buildings. And so I know it's a little bit extraordinary circumstances, but that's exactly so that we don't get into that situation where we're just leasing buildings out that are.
And I get that part. I understand that we want to protect ourselves on that. It's the wording, I guess, to some extent. You know, a couple meetings ago, we were talking about, what was it, Liberty Club, boat club, and how we couldn't accommodate them. I guess they were told that the lease wouldn't allow it. And the way this is written, I guess it would allow it if it came to the city and the city approved it. However, you know, I just want to make sure that we don't want to take and tie the hands for them, but we also don't want to tie the hands for ourselves either. If we can just tighten that language up a little bit, what we mean when we say, you know, shall not assign this lease or sublet, because, and I don't remember exactly where it says, that they can use the premises, for boat rentals and anything related to the boat rentals. But what does that mean? You know, it's kind of open-ended. You know, they could bring in a hot dog trailer and say, well, everybody's hungry when they're getting off the boat, so, you know, that's related to the boat rentals. I mean, you know, maybe we need to be a little more specific with that, as far as what we're looking at as far as allowing and not allowing. You know, I understand that you're looking at mechanics coming in there and, you know, using shops for that, but, you know, like, I know Liberty wanted to use a portion of, have an indoor area there that they could have their people come in and, you know, do paperwork or whatever. just needless to say, with what we're talking about as far as, percentages according to how much, they fill, the more organizations they work with, the better chance they have 100% fill. So, you know, like I said, I just think to some extent, we need to look at exactly what we're looking at and exactly how we word it to make sure that it's just right where it needs to be.
And I will say, and I think they're more than happy to work with Freedom Boat Club, despite that they're in that business as well. I have the emails that went back and forth between Freedom Boat Club, as recently as they reached back out to them this summer, June and July, even, June and July, where that, they're open to that, or we're still open to giving them slips and renting slips out to them. So, whether they choose to give them a space to come in and sign a lease or do some paperwork or whatever, I think that's one thing. I would imagine they'd be amenable to that, but to let them have a full-time presence and lease out that office space to somebody else, I think that opens some doors from a business perspective that is not really fair of us to impose those on somebody that's a leaseholder of the property. But I just want to add, two other things that I'll comment that were made. One, last year was the first year we thought we had a pending development, so we just did cold storage last year. We split that out as just a dollar amount, for that specifically. So that's why I reverted to the previous years when we kind of included it all as one, the use of the property, the leasing of the slips, the use of Quonset hut is that big metal barn where we use the boat storage. And then for I guess historical sake, to give you guys an idea of the council, an idea of like the last 5 years of revenue that's been brought in from the boat, our portion. So in 16-17, roughly $49,000, 17-18, $23,000, 18-19 was up to $46,000, 19-20 was $34,000, 2021 dropped back down to $16,000, and then last year, $35,000 was the portion, the city's portion that we received. We don't have this year's numbers yet, what that percentage is. Again, we moved from 40, where we used to take 40% of that lease money, and last year we did move it up to 50% of the lease dollars.
Excuse me, Bill, but how much of that was, boat storage, or was that just a piece?
It was all included as that contract.
Okay, so, I mean, boat storage was included in there.
Yeah.
And what kind of amount of boat storage did they have compared to what's available?
I can tell you last year that metal building was full to full. I'm guessing there was probably 30 to 40 boats in there. I mean, like a jigsaw puzzle, but however you could squeeze them in there is how they were in there.
How many did you say? Sorry.
I would guess 30 to 40. It was purely a guess, though. It was that long metal building that was
Depends on you.
boats sideways and every way you could get them in there, and there's some boats in a couple of the other buildings as well.
Okay. Michelle, you might come up to the podium. I got a couple questions. So referring to, oh, hey Dylan. So if you could state your name and address for public record real quick.
Sure. Michelle Straight, 23212 North Kelsey Avenue, Cranston.
Thank you. So Michelle, I have a question. So, how much have you invested in this property so far, your money, not reimbursed? Do you have any idea what that number is?
Yeah, I do.
Close.
Going through here.
The numbers that are presented to me, and you can jump in, I think you guys gave this to me already, but it was not counting any labor costs at all, it's over $5,000. That was.
Oh, well, yeah, for money put in.
Yeah.
Plus labor, right? 5K plus labor?
Oh, here. Dylan, can you hear? Can you talk? Can you get on mute? There we go.
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, do you want to tell them about how much we have invested in the marina?
I don't have the paperwork in front of me.
And we do have it. If I had any comments,
Yeah.
Dylan, does 5,000 sound accurate plus labor?
Material.
Material only?
material,
Yeah, with, the water,
the water.
30 or 40 water. So, that water line from
Thank you, Dylan. How much did you charge per slip on average? I know that.
Yeah, on average, so, with water and electric, it was 2,200. With no water and electric on, that main area right there, it was 1980. And for the rear channel slip, it was 1,460.
I'm just doing numbers real quick.
Yeah, and then come late in the season, so we actually just had more people join just in the last couple of weeks. So, kind of mid-July, towards the end of July, then prices dropped.
And there's 57 outdoor slips, is that correct?
8 are for the condo association. There are about 3 or 4 on the rear channel that are not usable because they're so shallow, and then 2 service slips.
So 40, probably
Yeah.
accurate, that's usable. In indoor, how much are you planning on the charge for each boat, roughly on average? Depending on footage, obviously, that's gonna. You base it off of 30 boats, Dylan, how much would you charge per boat?
I mean, most boats are between 18 and 22. I think there's only like 4 or 5 in that max split for the 1450. But once 4th of July hits, like most marinas do, we go 75%. And then after July and August, we go 50%.
You're talking storage.
He was talking about
He's
storage.
talking storage.
Indoor storage.
Oh, storage?
Yeah, indoor.
Indoor storage, I charge, last year I think it was 32 or 33 a foot of the boat, not the trailer, just the boat.
Meaning what? Explain that.
So 500 a boat?
About, how much about on average?
10.
Say it again?
It just makes it easier because most people don't know.
Say it again, it cut out. So on average, how much?
20 foot boat.
So sometimes.
600 bucks, right?
32 a foot.
23 foot boat, right? 32.
Okay.
The 20 foot, 26 foot.
Then outside storage is like, $10 cheaper than that, which I correct.
So, I'm sorry, Michelle, can you clarify, 32 a foot?
So 30,
There's different variables, because you guys have some huge boats there that need to be lifted out of the water. And, so there will be some different variables on.
right, but on average, what did you say? How much per foot? Indoor storage?
Well, the average is 23, 24 foot boat, 932.
So 32, and then $10 less for outside?
Yeah.
Okay,
How many boats can be stored outside, do we know this?
do we allow that? We do.
Yeah.
We do, they usually wrap them up and put them right on the property. Or on the property itself, the rest of the wood. 30 out there. Yeah. To guess. Yeah, 30. And still navigate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I probably store like close to 200 right now.
So what do you think that you're gonna get revenue-wise? What is your goal, I guess we should say? What do you think revenue-wise you're gonna get for the whole year?
You guys talk about like incentives and, percentages. And what my question to you would be, let's say I fill it to 70%. What would that look like to you guys as far as a split in percentage for the flips?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out. Dylan, what is your thoughts? I mean, are you looking at over 100,000 in revenue out of this thing?
It's very comfortable.
Based on my numbers, just real quick going over, obviously there's always those, variables on whether you get it leased right away or not. I'm right around 106,000. And that's on the lower end, but also on the, versus doing percentages and all that, is there a way that we can come up to an agreement that it's a specific amount for the year, and that we partner with you, we put it in our fall program that goes out. We can definitely do some posts, because it is a partnership, it's our property, it's our slips. I think that's important, but is there an amount that we could put on that that's just a solid lease for this, versus percentages? And I don't know what council thinks of this, I haven't talked to anyone, I didn't even know this was gonna be really an issue today, but we can certainly talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit caught off guard. I know they were talking percentages and incentives, and that's kind of where my mind was. What am I guaranteed is their percentage? And if they don't right now, I split the bill.
What
I
would
think that's
our
what the mayor's
percentage
asking
be?
for.
Yeah, so if we
A
come up,
guaranteed number.
let's say we come up with a number at 50,000. Then you can do whatever you want, we'll partner, we'll market it with you. You know, we know that there's costs that you're gonna be putting at this, so I don't know what that cost is, if it's another $5,000, maybe we, you know, work out a deal where it's 45,000 and we work with you. I mean, there's things that hasn't been taken care of at that space for a while, and we all kinda know that. And we do want it a clean place, and I think these two will definitely do that. But that's my personal opinion, so if there's more that needs to happen and build the water, I don't know how much that would normally cost if we would have done it, probably a lot more than, right. So, you know, me personally, I would like to see a $45,000 guarantee, the rest, that way we're not going after numbers and doing, that's your business as far as, just because it's your business, I know it's our, you know, slips and everything, but, I think it's gotta be a partnership, and I think 45,000 is fair on my thoughts, and then above that, and like I said, I think we need to market, Bill and I could certainly talk and see how we get that out. Monty's working on the, fall magazine now, that goes out in a few weeks, but I think that's important to get done now, because once you get past a few more months, it's gonna, be a different conversation. Cause I think people are already, like,
It would just be a flat fee.
a flat fee of 45,000. Now, I don't know if council agrees with this, this is just, but why don't we open it up and let them talk, and then
That was.
you two, Alderman McClatchy, go ahead.
Yeah, I know there's a motion on the floor, but so many.
There's not.
Why don't we, bring this up at the next meeting, because there's a lot of questions, a lot of things.
Well, that's what we're trying to,
If we
no, we gotta
wait
get it
till the
done.
next meeting,
Cause then they need
the
to
boat storage will be full already.
Yeah.
It's, now is the time that has to get done.
We have to do it now.
And I would like to advocate on behalf of that. Whatever we need to do to kind of work through some things, this is why we're not fuller at all the slips aren't
Right.
leased. Because it was so late in the game, people got scared and they folded, and they wanted a slip. When people have a boat on the water, they want guaranteed they've got a slip.
Yep.
So we already have a good handful of people who are saying, oh, well, now that I know if you guys are gonna do this, I'm gonna be there next year. So if we wait on storage.
Hold on that.
Yeah, that's exactly what
They
we
may
do.
close next year. Find another
It
spot
scared the
where we know
people
we-
away a little bit, and that's not on you, we know that, I know that.
I just, we just feel bad for the people there who wanna know. And we don't want them hightailing it somewhere else because we just don't have an answer. So, we wanna do right by them, that's all I'm asking.
Okay, Alderman Glenn?
Yeah, I wouldn't have any problem if we made a motion tonight to approve this lease, upon changes that we've discussed. And that, you and staff analyze as far as the dollar amounts that we're talking about. You know, the whole idea is, when we first leased this years back, the whole idea was to make enough revenue to maintain what we had. And, if we decide to, keep this property public, with this type of use, we might even ask them, maybe come up with some different types of proposals that they could think of that, would also generate more revenue there, tied into boat rentals and everything else.
Yep.
But, we do need to move forward tonight, but we don't wanna move too, so quickly that we're not doing it properly, and fair to them as well as to us. So I'd be open-ended on that too.
Thank you, appreciate that. Alderman Strack, what is your thoughts? Are you comfortable with a flat fee?
I
I just think,
I think there's a way to make this work on a scale that helps the purveyor
make more in this transaction and not have to foot the loss if they don't fill it. We don't know what the future brings for them as well. The boating industry right now is strong, doesn't mean it'll be strong next year. We're gonna ask the purveyor to guarantee a $45,000 cut. If the boating industry fails next year horribly, they're on the hook. That doesn't leave the purveyor in a good position either. So I'm not sold on a flat fee because that is hard on them. And as much as I'm the one saying I'd like to see the percentage, there's a bonus to them if they fill it. I love that idea of bonusing them and getting some layers here, but I also love the fact that we need to help them do it because unfortunately, the last tenant that was there left us in a bad spot. They left those slips, we didn't respond quick enough, now it's on us. So I think, again, I'm willing to put whatever this group decides, but whether that's 70% and 90% as a bonus for them, it doesn't leave them on the hook if there's a big flat fee. I'm scared that that's a tough deal. So again, I'm willing to make a motion at wherever everybody's comfortable with, but I think if you're asking me now, my motion is we ask them to take 40% up to 70% occupancy. They'll get 50% from 70 to 90. And anything over 90 would be at, if they fill it to over 90% capacity, they would get 55%. That gives them a bonus over last year's numbers if they hit it. And we would help them in that by putting it in the magazine and helping get that out. That's my motion on the floor.
Wait, they have to agree.
Yeah. Correct.
Exactly. Can you just ask her, do you agree? That way they have something to deal with.
I appreciate your willingness to be swift on this. I really do. And so, Dylan, what did you want to say?
I mean, I would be willing to say, taking out the 3 or 4 slips in the bathroom, taking out 2 service slips and having a small budget to renovate part of the property. I will guarantee 100% occupancy of the property and take 65% of the proceeds. Now, I'll take all the risk. If it doesn't rent out, you guys still get your money. If it rents out, then I make it. But I don't know that that's gonna happen next year. That way, I'm completely running things, I have control over what's going on, and you guys get a guaranteed 100% occupancy, that we've never had before. Because you were paying 60% before fees, and you never had a guarantee.
And we got 50, it was 50 this year, so like for it to be 50 and we're still gonna work really hard to sell more.
These had something like 8 service slips.
So I don't understand what the in-service slips are.
Service slips are, you get 0 for them. So if they have just service slips, the only time that I've ever gotten numbers from these was the very last year when we were going back and forth, and I was basically like, prove that these numbers slipped back up. It was a good relationship. It was not a good relationship at the end of last year with last year's tenant. So I said, basically show us. And their occupancy, I think it was 37 out of 47, but they had taken 8 of those are automatically out of service. Or they just call them service slips. I don't know what that means as a service slip, but I know we got 0 for anything that they had marked as a service on there.
Okay, so then I'm gonna turn that back to Michelle and Dylan.
Yeah.
Do we need these service slips? Why?
We only need 2.
Okay.
We don't need 8. We need 2. Just because there are customers who will have issues and whatnot, we can help them. So.
Perfect. So we could take that number from 8 to 2.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I said earlier. 2 service slips. There are 8 that belong to the condo association.
Correct.
And then there are like 3 to 4 in the back rear side that are really shallow and pretty unusable. So those factored in, the rest we can guarantee.
So like 44. That's 44 slips. 57 total minus 8 for the condos, minus 2 for service, minus 3 for the ones that are all the way back in that part where they're still shallow. Is that? That's 44. Yeah.
Long
Put that in the notes. Distinguished warrior. They say McHenry School doesn't mean much. Here I am, folks.
So, this is confusing to me, but, can we find out if Alderman are going this way or with flat fee, one way or the other? And we can work on either one.
I would like to see a flat fee.
Andy,
What's that?
flat fee or percentage type thing, approach?
The percentage I like, but what I would want then is I would want a hard number of what's being charged on the slips.
Yeah, it's good.
And
Yeah.
to answer that, I think they do have that schedule, and in the lease, it does say that they can increase that fee by 10%. But I think right now, and Michelle can answer, I believe that they are right in line with what Miller's is charging next door this year.
I understand.
So, I mean, I think they've got a little buffer to make more if they can.
Right, but we don't want to make that percentage that we undercutting some leases at the end to make that percentage either, so.
Well, and again,
That's why I say we need a hard number of where we're at with the leases.
What
Or at
sounds-
least,
And just to clarify, Dylan said in July, they'll take the fee to 75% for the unfilled stuff.
Right.
To be competitive, because there's so much less of the season left.
A percentage.
I like the percentage.
Yeah, a percentage.
I mean, I like the flat fee only because it gets, no offense, it gets you to work harder. It gets us to partner with you to get it done too. So next year, the following year, you want to lease it again. I just think the flat fee works. I don't know if 45 is a number, you know, but
So we got 3%
if you have 120,000 in revenue, which is doable, it'd be about 30% at 40,000. So that's why I was going with the 30%. We know what we're getting for the year. It's a done deal. That's my opinion. I don't.
So we have 3 percentages. We have a few more flats.
No, the three is working.
I know that, so we done? Yeah, well, now we need to iron out the percentages, because they have to agree.
If you went with 40% of everything, on your math, on the rough estimates of storage, let's say 30 indoor storage, 30 outdoor storage, and all 44 slips leased, you know, then you're close to that, you're right in that 120 range, and 40% of that is, which is kind of back to where we're at with these, originally, not last, you know, these originally, now you're looking at $49,800. But that's at 100% occupancy of those 44 slips. That's as well as a portion of all the indoor and outdoor storage.
This way we're not-
Which is I mean, it's higher than any amount we've collected in the last 6 years. It's close in 16-17, where we had 48,000 that we collected, 48,000.
But the difference here is you have the city of McHenry helping you, and I think that goes a long way. I really do, because D's only use D's to do it. We never really, did we help at all ever to?
No.
So I think this is a partnership. That's I don't know, that's,
Yeah,
whatever that number is, I think, you know, the 40 to 45 mark, somewhere like right around there. And that way we don't have to go to you and say, well, you know, you can put as many boats in that shed as you want. You can put as much on the property that you want that's doable for your business. And we're not asking you for paperwork.
exactly.
You can do what you want to do. If you want to charge more in the beginning,
Right.
Yeah, I'm open to that too.
We're open to that. Yeah, that would be great.
Well,
That'd be easy.
I just like it simple.
and that's why I think this would be simpler. I think,
It's cleaner, simpler.
and honestly, once you go public, once you give us those documents, now everyone knows what you're charging from. I don't think that's, I don't know.
So come up with a number. What is it, 40 or 45? I've heard it twice.
42.5.
We're making great improvements, and we have great ideas of what.
I think 40,000 is fair. I think 40,000, they're making improvements, vote it in.
We're gonna make it really.
It's more than what we've gotten in revenue.
And what are we gonna do with the $40,000 revenue? Hopefully, put some of that money back into the building as far as painting, whatever maintenance needs to be done on some of those piers. Because
Some of
that is
it-
our responsibility.
Some of that money from the marina fund goes back into it.
Right.
It's never a large portion
Minimal.
that goes back into it.
Right, it's been profitable.
Yes,
I think 40,000 is a good number, I think it's fair, I think it's a good partnership.
Well, I'm at 45. Sorry. You started at 45.
Make the motion.
Yeah.
Go 46.
Well, I want the initiative there that.
The initiative, that doesn't change any motivation.
That was your first number?
It was.
But we're also gonna make improvements and we're asking for very small, like,
And you gotta understand, Michelle, to tell these, because you told me today, or I expressed it to you,
yeah.
that any kind of maintenance, anything, any cost that's out of their pocket, they need to be reimbursed by the city.
But the.
But is that what's happening at our flat fee?
That's not,
No,
they'll take care of it, right?
No, and that's not what, that, and I know, I understand business-wise, it seems silly to not. But you gotta understand, this is also our business, our name, our company on this also, and customer service is hands down number one. So if that means we're fixing the water pipes because customers are gonna get upset that they don't have water and electric, we're gonna fix it. So, that's just how we do things, and I understand that maybe that business savvy side financially isn't working in our favor in those instances, but that's why we have a good business reputation. You know, we're always gonna put the customer first, so, I mean, we want this to look nice.
Somebody comes into the shop and they need a part, $2 or $5, I get the thing away. I mean, that's what makes customer relations. They call me Mayberry down here, because they all come.
Okay, they do, but,
Michelle.
all right, hold on.
Michelle.
Sorry, John.
Just need to.
All right, I'm just, hold on, I know, hold on.
So, are you in agreement that if we do a flat fee of $40,000, then we're not reimbursing you for any repairs that you do in there?
Do you hear that?
Not without prior approval, you can always ask.
Right,
The lease is
Right.
gonna be clear.
are you good with that?
Yeah, I don't like
Yep, he's good with that.
So if we're not making any repairs, then that's gonna offset the number that Vic's throwing on the table.
Yeah, that also.
So including the water,
Because we
right?
we spoke of $5,000 earlier.
Okay.
So there's.
Yeah, I mean, we
They've already
were
spent
talking $5,000 earlier anyway.
Correct.
So if that's agreed to, then we'll clear up the issue Andy brought up, we'll run through the lease one more time, make sure that no other ambiguities there. And, so the motion would be something to the effect of authorizing the city administrator and staff to revise the lease as they deem fit with a $40,000 plan fee for the tenant to pay. When is that paid?
No repairs.
Usually paid in
Tonight?
Well, it's been it's written as half up front and then half at the end of the season. In practice, we always got paid at the end of the year.
Can
It's
you do
nice
half
when it's
upfront?
I will tell you, it is nice when it is toward the end of the season because the winterizing and all of that comes with the crazy winter, things start rolling in again in the spring. So we could do beginning of spring.
So what about a third, a third, and a third?
Yeah, how's that sound, Dawn?
Yeah, that's fine.
That way you have you have some time to.
Yeah, do you sign, is it a personal lease or is it corporate?
It's the corporate, signed as deeds.
Yeah, so you guys have to sign this personally for kids and everything. Is that okay?
Can I do this? I wanna give up my kid.
I know, I was like, wait a minute.
Otherwise,
Just kidding,
I mean, third and a third and a third is better than, I mean, what are we gonna do if she defaults? You can't kick the people, you can't move the boats. We've been through this process. It's a
There's
horrible.
still a boat sitting there.
We have absolutely no leverage.
There is still a vote from last week.
And the tenant, yeah, if the tenant walks away, we're stuck. So I recommend we
working.
have some security and, personal guarantees, at least better than
Yes.
no.
And we, to that effect, we've installed cameras. We've got, we have great things already there in place that have cost a lot of money, so we will not fall.
We have internet, camera.
So are we okay with the personal guarantee as well then?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So why don't we do a third and a third and a third? And we'll, if we can just get approval by.
And we're gonna, so the motion is a flat fee of $40,000, just to confirm, David. $40,000 annual fee, 1-year lease, 44 slips. We're gonna remove 6 of the in-service slips and knock that down to 2. So there will be 44 billable slips available. The Quonset hut indoor storage building, whatever we're calling that, all inclusive, 1-year term.
Plus outdoor storage. That's 40 more.
What about that office?
No, outdoor storage.
All inclusive of the property.
Yeah.
All inclusive of the property. They take over all of that control at $40,000 flat, third, personal guarantee.
Yep. Well, we can do that.
Okay.
What happens to the building that guy, remember,
Kenny Bruce?
yeah, what happens to that structure? Is there something in it?
It's basically empty.
That's not-
There's just some garbage that's in there from the last guy's built, we never
Oh,
moved this stuff.
okay, I
Some of
didn't
this stuff out.
Is that included in this?
Yes,
So it's
the whole property. So, All-Marine did not utilize that building at all.
All right. I didn't know if you wanted to lock it or not.
So the motion for all that to be discussed, included in the lease and for the mayor to execute.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'll make
It's
that.
a- Yeah, it's,
For the city administrator.
so the motion is to authorize the city administrator to work with the staff to come up, to make edits to the lease consistent with what Alderman Strack just said.
And you,
40,000, 44 splits, 2 service splits only, indoor storage, all inclusive of personal property, personal guarantee, and 1/3, 1/3, 1/3.
She's good.
Good job, Chris.
Thank you, Trish.
All right, Alderman McClatchy, a
yes,
motion?
I will, make the motion as, street clerk just,
Thank you. Second?
So wait, is Alderman saying,
Yeah,
I'll second.
Sean Strackle, second.
Alderman Strack is second.
That's a great motion.
Is there any other comments by council? Any public comment? No? All right.
I would just like to say thank you for your time. I know this was quite the conversation. I appreciate your diligence. We would like to immediately, as of tomorrow, let them know we can offer storage. So as soon as this
Thank you,
agreement
Dylan.
is signed. So
Thank
thank
you,
you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna,
And then Monty,
And we will make you proud.
We will.
Oh, you do,
appreciate
you do.
it. And we'll have Monty reach out to you, or if you want to talk to Monty after the meeting, that way we get your information, try to get an ad, or Bill,
we'll get
someone,
something together.
someone will contact you about getting an ad in the newsletters that's coming out in a couple weeks.
That would be great.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle.
Appreciate it.
All right, clerk, please call roll.
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderman Stratt,
Yes.
Alderman Harding,
Yes.
Alderman Glad,
Yes.
Alderman Santi.
Yes.
Thank you, council. The staff reports, any staff reports? Bill?
All we know is the Blues Brews Barbecue is this weekend, so it's always been a great festival put on by the Henry Rotary Club. Nothing going on this weekend, come on out.
Thank you.
Just a reminder that our next city council meeting is Tuesday, September 6th, the 5th is Labor Day. I'll send out another reminder.
All right. I have nothing for the mayor's report, city council comments. Alderman Santi? Go ahead.
Real quick on, the Munson Marine items before, should have made the statement earlier, but yeah, the facility looks fantastic. It really does, and just one heck of an improvement on the east side for, that's all I have, thank you.
Alderman Glad, go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna mention is, I brought it up and I hope that it was ignored as far as the fact that, we really think about, what we wanna do with this, property in the future. Do we really wanna keep marketing it for development, or do we wanna, keep it as a, boat rental, public area to the public? I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and there might be more opportunity for them to, increase, not just the rental sales, but possibly other type of revenue there. And, I think it could be just a win-win for the city. So I just think we have, ought to analyze, what we're looking at as far as dollar amounts and, where we're at today, because that is a nice piece of property.
Thank you. Alderman Strack?
I'd just like to, thank Alderman McClatchy for his speech at the Spirit 45 event on Sunday.
Thank you.
It was a nice crowd out there, although the weather wasn't perfect, there was still a nice crowd of people out there, so thank you.
Alderman McClatchy, go ahead.
Yeah, I know the mayor put this on social media, but, we just got another award for our police department for dispatch center. So if anybody has any doubt about our police department, it's A #1.
Second that. quote whatever somebody said, but on social media, I'm not gonna lie. But oh, shoot.
You can want that now.
He's probably at home standing up right now.
Yeah, right. Any other comments by council? Looking for a motion and a second to adjourn. Alderman Strack?
Motion.
Alderman Santi for a second?
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Alderman Santi?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Hart?